Hello and welcome. My name is Femi Stoltz and I'm the coaching manager at One Family. In this role, I oversee our direct service programs, which include our Credential to Career Coaching, One Family Scholars, and Training and Technical Assistance programs. Thank you for joining us today for the second of 3 events in One Family's inaugural speaker series. Today's program is entitled Pathways to Economic Success, How Coaching Helps Parents Find Careers, Not Just Jobs, and will focus on the critical role of individualized coaching for parents moving away from poverty. One Family's mission is to prevent homelessness and promote pathways to economic independence for families in Massachusetts. Our philosophy is that long-term housing stability is built on a foundation of education and career success. Over the years I've spent at One Family, I've seen that there is a big difference between having a job, any job, and having a career that brings stability and growth potential. A job is an endpoint, a set position, whereas a career is a journey where you're able to grow. For parents, especially single parents, the difference between a job and a career might also be the difference between keeping a roof overhead and facing the threat of homelessness. This threat is particularly acute in states like Massachusetts, where housing costs are staggering. According to the National Low Income Housing Coalition, a single parent would have to make over $36 an hour to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Massachusetts without burden. The state minimum wage, by contrast, is only $14.25. This has led to a housing crisis with over 11,000 parents and children facing homelessness each day in Massachusetts shelters and transitional housing, and thousands more living doubled up or in campgrounds or in cars. To combat the crisis of family homelessness, parents need access to quality information about education and career pathways. In other words, families need stable income to afford stable housing. This is the philosophy behind One Family's work, and we hope today's event will demonstrate the impact of this approach. In my role as coaching manager at One Family, I have the privilege of working firsthand with parents who are building toward their career goals, and I'm excited to share some of these inspiring stories with you today. Before we begin the panel discussion, I would like to take a moment to thank Career Mode, our presenting sponsor for today's event. We are immensely grateful for their support and partnership in this work and for making today's event possible. It is now my pleasure to introduce one of the founders of Career Mode, Karen Pappas, who will kick things off. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Femi. We're delighted to sponsor One Family in this wonderful event. I'm Karen Pappas, co-founder of Career Mode, one of our practices and divisions at our firm Pappas & Pappas in Boston. The presentation this evening aligns with our work at Career Mode as we coach individuals during the lifespan of their career, from high school and college to retirement. We find it very rewarding to support our clients to create a roadmap to achieve their dreams and to find their purpose and meaning in life. We're very grateful to be part of One Family mission and have enjoyed our work with the organization over the years. I'm now pleased to introduce One Family board member Ivette Arias, who will be moderating today's event. Ivette is the Vice President of Human Capital at Pine Street Inn, New England's largest provider of housing, shelter, and street outreach for homeless men and women. Ivette has worked in healthcare human resources for decades, including at Codman Square Health Center, Lynn Community Health Center, Manette Community Health Center, and Commonwealth Care Alliance. Ivette earned a bachelor's degree in public policy and community studies from UMass Boston and a master's degree in human resources management from Emmanuel College. Ivette is also an alumna of the One Family Scholars Program. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you, Karen, for that kind introduction. I am honored to be moderating One Family's panel today that will showcase 2 remarkable young women in their journey to career success. As a working mother who put herself through college myself and graduate school while raising 4 children, I can understand firsthand the challenges parents face when building toward their career goals. As we kick things off, I want to thank you all for joining us for today's event, which will explore the critical role of individualized career coaching on the road to economic stability, especially for parents. As Femi mentioned in her welcome remarks, One Family believes that education access and career access are the foundations of lasting financial security. However, as the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic continues to unfold, we have seen very clearly that not all employment opportunities are created equal. COVID-19 shifted the employment landscape dramatically, beginning with the staggeringly high layoffs and unemployment in 2020, through to the more recent Great Resignation of 2021. Workers are seeking stability and flexibility and fair wages. Employers are seeking qualified candidates to open roles. Career coaching can help bridge that gap, connecting people to quality career opportunities that match their skills and their interests. Furthermore, for parents, career coaching can help determine what credentials are needed for that chosen career, how to finance those credentials, how to balance work, school, parenting, and so much more that happens in our lives. For many parents, a college degree can be an important milestone on their career path. And today's panelists will discuss the importance of higher education on their journey to career stability. However, college isn't the only path to a successful career. In this context, it is now my honor to introduce today's panelists, who will speak to the vital role that career coaching can play for parents working toward economic stability. Both of the women featured today have accomplished an incredible amount academically and professionally while raising children as single mothers, and I am thrilled to have a chance to speak with them. Our first panelist, Jessica Espiritusanto, is the practice manager at the Geiger Gibson Community Health Center. Having worked in healthcare for 10 years, Jessica earned an associate's degree in natural science from Quincy College and a bachelor's degree in sociology and public policy from UMass Boston. She is the proud mother of 2 amazing children and an alumni of the One Family Scholars Program. Our second panelist, Arya Mortiz, is an assistant manager at Bank of America, where she has been for 3 years, and a single mother of 2 beautiful children. Ariam holds an associate's degree in business administration from Roxbury Community College, a bachelor's degree in business administration from UMass Boston, and is currently working toward her MBA at UMass Lowell. Ariam is also an alumni of the One Family Scholars Program. Welcome, Jessica and Ariam. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Arya Mortiz. I am a Hispanic single mom of 2 beautiful children. I work in Bank of America as an assistant manager. I have been there for about 3.5 years, but I have been working in the banking industry since 2016. And I'm very excited of being here. I'm a former One Family Scholar, and thank you for having me here today.
Hi, everybody. I am Jessica, also a mom of 2 amazing children. I work at Geiger Gibson Community Health Center in Boston as a practice manager, and I am a One Family alumni.
Nice. And then you guys are both, career women, balancing family, balancing a career, what made you kind of pursue the career that you're actually going in, and what factors did you really consider when you were making the decision on which career you wanted to go to? Jessica, do you want to start this time first?
Yeah, sure. I have always been in healthcare, a part of healthcare in one way or another, mostly in support roles, so I was a community health worker, a case manager. And then I, went back into school. I enrolled into school, and I initially went to school thinking I wanted to be a nurse. And I started my prereqs for nursing. And I think I went that route because, as I said, I had already had all this experience in healthcare. And I thought that this would guarantee me a paycheck, a good paycheck, one that could, that would afford me the things that I dreamed of, buying a home and taking care of my family on my own. And so that's what I pursued. But through coaching with One Family and thinking of some other things, long term, thinking about what was a better fit for my skills and my interest, and kind of thinking beyond the check, but also that too, right? And many conversations with my support team and my one family coach, I was able to take a different approach, but still remain in healthcare. I realized that I had a huge passion in health equity and in public health. So I changed my career path or my degree to reflect that. And so rather than going for nursing, I got my degree in public policy and sociology.
Like me. That's where my
really? Yes.
yeah, my
Like
degree
you.
is also in public policy. I did it in public policy and community studies.
Yeah, and it's really neat. It did put me in a position to get promoted from medical case manager to practice manager, where I'm in a place where I'm still helping patients, but on a broader level. And I also get to play a major part in creating workflows and policies that support health equity and that create opportunities for low-income patients and for patients of color to have access to healthcare, quality healthcare.
That is awesome. I definitely come from a community health center background. I know the underserved populations that we actually serve in that industry. And so your work is very much needed, very much appreciated. And, I'm happy. You would have been a great nurse, but I appreciate the direction that you went in with your career. Ariam, how about you? You chose a career path, you went into banking. How are you feeling? What made you think about going into banking? What made you kind of go and create a passion for finance?
I just want to start by saying that when I met One Family, I was taking English classes in Project Hope. That's where I met the organization, and we had like a meeting where One Family came with one of the scholars. And I never thought, I want to start by saying this because I never thought about going to college until that day. And there was this single mom. She came and she was telling her story. She was a single mom. She went through so much, but she decided to study her career in college. And One Family was there supporting her. And I felt identified, was like, if she can do it, I can do it too. I have 2 children just like her. And that was very powerful, very inspirational. So I decided to go to college to study business administration. I always liked finances and budgeting and advising people how to manage their money, how to be organized. So it has been always a passion of mine. Then I had an account in Easter Bank. So I applied for a part-time position as a sales and service associate, but the regional manager decided to give me a full-time position in back pay. So that's where everything started. So when I applied there, I remember that the first job I had at Easter Bank, they offered me the position, but I didn't negotiate the salary. And that really hurt me. I don't know. I was like so frustrated that I didn't do it because I needed the job. As a single mom, we're not used to negotiate. You know about that. So I took the job. I didn't negotiate it. And when I had the offer to become an assistant manager at Citizens Bank, I remember that experience. And I was like, no, I'm going to negotiate this time because we are asset to the company. Mm-hmm. We speak more than one language. We have the experience. We are leaders. We are mom. I mean, we have to be organized. We have to multitask. We have to pay attention to details. We have all these skills like for years. So we are an asset to the company. So I always recommend to everybody listening to this conversation, negotiate your salary, know your worth. And here I am. I want to become a manager. That's my next step. So let's do it.
What makes you want to become a manager? What is it that kind of makes you give you that drive to be a manager? Being a manager is really hard.
Well, being an assistant manager and a manager is very similar. We are in charge of the financial center. We are leaders of the financial centers. We pretty much do the same. But I really like about leading by example. I like to motivate my team. I love to recognize them for their job, their good job. I hold them accountable as well when it's necessary. So that leading part of being able to motivate them so they can be their very best, that's what I want to focus on, just to make sure they are ready to improve financial life for clients.
What about you, Jessica?
Well, as long as I got promoted to a manager position during the pandemic. And because I'm in healthcare, of course, I want to make sure that as a community health center, we have access and that we're providing quality care. But in addition to that, and to ensure that that is possible, it's been really important for me to keep employees engaged and, like Ariam said, to motivate them and to remind them, that we appreciate them and that the work that we're doing is important. And for me, that has been really important because we have been overworked because of COVID. And it hasn't always been the safest environments for us in healthcare as we're on the front lines. So as a manager, I've taken that into consideration, doing everything I can to just make it a better place to work for my staff.
Good. I'm going to piggyback on that this whole discussion. So talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges that you have encountered in your path, in your career path. And what are some of the things that have helped you kind of overcome them? How have you been able to overcome some of those challenges that you've encountered?
Yeah, so I can think of, I can go so far back, just graduating high school and thinking what's next. Being a first generation citizen and the first in my family to go to college, or to even think about going to college, because I haven't gone to college yet, right? But senior year, just even thinking of that as a possibility, already set forth the challenges for me, and so, but thankfully, I was able to make my way to college. Unfortunately, I did get pregnant early on and had to leave school. And chose to, I chose to leave school and have my daughter and raise my daughter. Then came, a ton of challenges as a young parent, trying to navigate the system and figure out the best way to take care of my family without the college degree that I kind of thought was going to be my only path as a Hispanic woman to immigrant parents. And fast forward a couple of years later, I found myself in a shelter. I separated from my kid's father from a relationship that wasn't very healthy. And I moved to Boston and I was in a shelter and found myself back, trying to figure out what's the next step, right? And in I guess what they call dead end jobs, jobs that we pick up just so that we can, pay the bills or, and get food on the table for the kids. But it never was enough or never felt like enough. And I felt like I kept hitting a brick wall, and I couldn't climb any ladders in those places. So as I said, I was in a shelter and working very closely with Boston Family Aid, who encouraged me to sort of, go back to finish school, go back to school, and they helped me get into an apartment. And from there on, I got evicted. I got evicted from the apartment, and I couldn't afford to get another apartment. So I was back. I just kind of felt like I kept going in this circle, looping back around, and nothing was getting better, but I was in school, and I kept kind of looking forward to that and saying, things, once I get this degree, things have to get better. These brick walls have to, tumble down at some point. And I think I said before, I started to get close to graduating with my associate's degree, but I had those student loans, and they were such a burden on me, because I was already in debt, already sort of, as I said, in these dead-end jobs, not making enough money to make ends meet, but then I was creating more debt. So I, wanted to continue school. So I started to do my research, and I found one family, thankfully, and applied for them. And having worked with my coach, Judith, and kind of going over all of the pros and cons of where I was at that time, what was the best route for me, and just creating like a plan, coming up with some goals, some short-term goals and some long-term goals, and sticking to that, really holding myself accountable and not allowing all of the things from the past and all of the things that I perceived as barriers to weigh me down and to discourage me from getting to what I wanted to get to achieving my dreams. And being a part of one family really took a lot of that burden, especially a financial burden, that I think so many single moms kind of feel or have, and kind of stop them from going back to school or taking that next step. So having had that support, I was able to go back for my bachelor's and continue there. And I think it was the best thing that I've ever done. As I said, it wasn't even a month after graduation, and I got promoted to practice manager.
Congratulations. I can tell you from my own experience, I was also a young mom. I had my first son when I was 19 years old. Didn't go to college immediately, waited about 10 years before I went back to school. I remember being in a really good, an okay job, kind of feeling the same way you did, what am I going to do next in my life? What do I want? And started to look at, education as kind of that pathway out. I found one family at exact same time when I was going back to school. And I can tell you that, it's very different when you have some kind of a support structure that can really guide you. I mean, when you're trying to deviate from your path, someone that can kind of help you deviate into the right path or really keep you structured into the, the right direction that you want to be. So the story is amazing. And
yeah, having one family made such a big difference, or just being a part of that family, having a coach, but also being a part of a community with other mothers sort of going through the same thing, like it makes you feel like you're part of the community and you're not alone. And there have people that have done it before you. There are people doing it with you, and you are able to uplift those that are going to do it after you in the same way that the ones that before you, like Ariam said, she had someone that came to visit her. And I, even anyone that gets to see this, I hope that it inspires them to take the next step as well. It just made such a difference. I started my associate's program at Quincy, and of course, with the motivation of my children and wanting to get better pay, but blindly, signing on whatever loan they said I needed to get to go to school, and not having the proper guidance, kind of just doing it because I felt like I had to. But having some coaching and some guidance definitely made such a big difference for me academically.
Mm-hmm.
And in my career, for sure.
I can imagine. Ariam, how about you, honey? What challenges have you gone through? What kind of challenges have you encountered in your career path? I can imagine if you said earlier that you came here and you were studying English when you got into the One Family Scholars Program, you didn't even think about. But what does that mean to you? What is the path for you? And how did you overcome those? And what did you learn from them?
I would say that one of the biggest challenges in my career path has been the work-life balance. The more that I wanted to be the greatest mom and spend time with my children, the more I wanted to move forward in my career. Mm-hmm. So I just couldn't pick one. I needed to do both because I was just passionate about both things. Actually, when you move forward in your career, you're doing it for your children too. So you need to find that balance. For example, like I mentioned before, if you have a job and your son is sick and you need to miss work, that next day you have to give your very best, your 200% at work, because you need to make sure you provide for the business and you're doing what is best for your family and for your company. And that has been one of the greatest challenges I have faced so far. But this is just fast forwarding in my life. I started in a shelter in 2011. I came from Puerto Rico. I went to a shelter. I came with 2 suitcases and my 2 babies, my 2 children. That was all I had. I had nothing else. And I just have a few clothing, the suitcases, that's it. And I went to a shelter. I went through a lot because not only it was the whole situation, we went basically homeless. We went through a lot of struggle financially. But I have never mentioned that before to you guys, but I had my sister, she got cancer at that time. She was 16 years old. Oh. And I was in a shelter with my children. My sister was dying. And I couldn't even breathe basically. And I had to wake up every morning and I have to provide for my children, and I have to move forward in life. And my sister passed away 2 months after, just 16 years old. So I have to be there and be strong for my children and my family. And I have to be strong for my mother, and I have to be strong for my siblings. And now we're talking about the work-life balance and all those things, but there are a lot of people that are facing like homelessness, poverty, and being sick, and losing family members. And I know we are talking here because we have been going through all of those things. And it's hard to feel lonely, but when you find people like one family that extend a hand to you and that help you and provide that coaching. And I also had a Project Hope, which was the shelter that I was in, providing you that support. I used to cry every day, every night, and I used to go down and they used to hug me, and that's what I needed at that time. And yes, it has been a very, very tough path, but anything is possible. That you start seeing at first, it's hard at first, but then once that train start riding, there's nothing that can stop it. You just have to succeed, because the universe has been receiving that energy. You just want it. You just want it so bad as you want to breathe. And yeah, you will figure it out. You will figure it out one step at a time. Organize your life. Organize everything you have to do during the day. Okay, I have to go to work today, but then I have to go to the supermarket, and then I have to cook for my kids, and then I have to do this and that. You can do it all. We have been doing it our entire life. You just have to organize and believe and just be positive. You're gonna be able to accomplish all of your dreams. Like right now, I'm living in my dream house. I remember when I was in the shelter, I used to draw my apartment, and I used to draw the living room, and I used to draw the TV and the couch and the bed, and it was all in my mind, but I envisioned it. I thought it. I was living it before I was there, and that's how I was able to. Everything is possible. Just believe in yourself.
That's a beautiful message. We could just end on that particular message right there, but we won't. I can tell you that I'm a cancer survivor myself, and I feel for you and your sister. I know exactly what a toll it takes on the person that's going through it, but also the family members that are around you. I've been cancer free for 4 years. Yesterday, I just had an anniversary of my 4th year of being cancer free. So
congratulations.
Thank you. It's amazing thing what it can do to your family. So in your own opinion, right? We're talking a lot about coaching and mentoring and managing and those kind of things. What do you think has been the most important thing that you have gotten from participating in the One Family's career coaching program?
Well, the biggest support I have been receiving from my coach at One Family has been emotionally. Like when you start college, I don't know if you know that, this is like a big secret, but college is hard, you know? And having someone there with you, like just one call away, one email away, is very empowering, and it gives you so much strength. I remember that every day I go to school, I wanted to quit because it was so hard. I wanted to quit every. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I was like, yes, I can. And when I couldn't anymore, I just give my coach a call, and that emotional support they provided me was huge in my success in college, and that's how I was able to get my career. Yes, I remember I mentioned this before, my math 134 calculus, I couldn't pass that class. And I laugh because I said that the other days, and Jessica said, when you remember the class name, it's because it really hurts. And it was terrible. I couldn't pass the class. So my coach used to just provide me, like help me to make a schedule take time to study, and used to motivate me, like, you can do it. This is not something that is impossible. You have accomplished so many things before. And he used to tell me that there's a lot of people going through the same thing, a lot of scholars going through the same situation. You're not alone. And when you feel that you're not alone, that other people going through the same thing, you're like, I can do it. That's very powerful. Having someone else like walking with you that path, very powerful. And I'm really grateful for that.
And that's what the coaches are there for. They're really there to kind of listen to that when you're down, you're at that rock bottom, having an unbiased opinion. Somebody is like, I always call it the Planet Fitness motto, the judgment-free zone. Kind of having that, there's no judgment. I just want to help you out for whatever reason. Jessica, what about you? What do you think has been one of the most important things you've gotten from participating in the One Family's career coaching?
Yeah, as I touched on earlier, and as you guys just, reiterated, I think, it was really special to be a part of a community that felt very familiar, like everyone kind of understood each other. Although we all had different experiences and paths, we understood each other. There's not a meetup, a time at the park, a trip to the to go apple picking, whether it was formal or informal, it always was moving and inspirational, so I think just having that is what was really important and special for me. But there is so much more. When I say being a part of One Family changed my life, I mean it changed my life in so many ways that I'm forever grateful for. Having the emotional support is so big, as Arian said. We are single moms going, trying to, get our degrees, finish school, and just battling life, which isn't easy for anyone, so having any ounce of support is so important, and I don't take it for granted, because I know that not everybody has that, whether it's in the family or outside of the family. But I gotta also say that the connection that I had with my coach was so important, but the partnerships as well. I felt like she had an answer or a go-to or a network, a resource for any problem that came up, whether it was transportation for my children, childcare. My car broke down, and my coach, when I say she, I'm sorry, but my coach connected me with the Letters Foundation and encouraged me to connect with them and write a letter. And I did, and I was able to get a grant or some assistance on getting a new car. And it just never even dawned on me that was a possibility, having the connection or being able to be partnered with Compass Financial and having a financial counselor, like, what? That is why that's why I was able to buy my 3-family. 5 years ago, I was living in a shelter, and now I own a 3-family. And I think it's because of that coaching and that networking, and the people, just the help with solving problems, and not feeling like you had to figure it all out all on my own. was so helpful. And you know how many times I went to my coach just to vent and not even thinking that she was going to help me solve the problem. And she was able to. So, you know, my list of what is important about participating with one family can probably go on and on. But I just think just having that relationship with your coach is so important.
I mean, it's amazing that you guys, you know, like, again, I can relate to both of your stories. I know I've been there and done that. You know, a lot of the stories that you guys have said, you know, are like, they're so relatable, you know, going, you know, being at a really difficult place, calling my coach and saying, hey, I'm at a really hard place. And she's like, you're crying, come here right now. Like, I remember remember that day like it was yesterday, and leaving there feeling like my world had just got resolved. And it was probably just her letting me have a moment, like, you know, let me cry, let me scream, let me, you know, let me just get this out. And then I can probably think through what I'm trying to process, but I can't think of it through until I can process. And so it's amazing that you have that support, and the one family is able to provide that for you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you both one final question. What are your career goals, and where do you see yourself in like 5 years, 10 years down the line, a couple of years from now? What do you see yourself in?
So I am actually currently with Suffolk University taking some master classes in community health management. So, you know, thank you. So I continue seeing myself growing as a person, right? Just like trying to build on all of my skills, continuing to be present and genuine in anything that it is that I do, you know. But I hope to continue to make a difference in my community, in whatever, you know, that may be, you know, whatever path God sees for me in the future. But I do see myself creating opportunities to make more of a difference in my community.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you that the one thing that you got to always remember, my advice, because, you know, I feel like I've been through all the facets of career, from entry level, middle level, senior level, executive level, to where I am today. Always remember where you came from. Always remember the experiences that you have had to get to where you are, because you will never forget the people that are coming up behind you. And always remember to bring somebody up with you.
I think about that very often, especially when I'm looking at applications and interviewing people. You know, I think about that a lot. I recently actually just started a training program at work that will provide on-the-job training for a dental assistant. So they will get on-the-job training to get their dental assistant license, and hopefully, you know, hired once. So they'll get, you know, on-the-job training, paid while they're getting training, and then hired as a full-time dental assistant. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. You know, it's just a way to kind of give back to the community. And it's for someone of color from Dorchester, one of our lower income communities.
I love that. You know, I always, when I'm recruiting for anybody, any position, I always look for culture and fit more than I do for education and training. And the reason why I say that is because I remember being out of school, not going to school yet, not having a degree, and somebody gave me an opportunity to learn something new, and that's how I got into HR. Somebody just said, you're a great speaker. Do you want to go do some training for me? And I said, sure, I can go do training for you. And then I did the training. She was like, you're awesome. She's like, do you want to learn HR? I said, sure. And I remember kind of like just trying it, and I loved it. And I went back to school, and I said, I'm going to go back to school and really study management or HR or something. And that's exactly how I got into where I always say I fell into HR, but it has everything to do with somebody giving you an opportunity. And when I've gotten to the role that I am right now, I always tell my recruitment team, always look for culture, always look for fit, always look for that person who really has the energy and the desire to want to be in the job, more than somebody that actually has some experience, because they may not be as committed as the person that really wants it.
Right. The person with real life experience is the true expert, right? Not the one reading the textbook. So I truly believe in that. But as you know, as a women, Hispanic women in the workforce, we know that sometimes experience isn't enough. You have to be able to back that up with a degree and some true skills.
That's why I went back and got my master's. That is the reason why, because but always, just think about that and in the future, as you guys wanting to promote yourself into management level positions, just remember, I would say, remember where you came from. It's very important.
That's what I tell my kids all the time. Every time we travel or we eat something fancy, I'm like, guys, you never forget where you came from. Don't forget that you live in a shelter. Please, just be humble. If people need you, just help them because we were there too, and we help us and we received the help that we wanted.
So where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Come on, you're not going to get out of this question, Ariam.
It's something funny. It's not really related to a career. My focus when like 5-10 years from now. So we became mom like very young, right, in life. So what I always think is like, okay, when I'm 40, 41, my kids are gonna be in college. I like to travel. So I am planning to travel even more. I travel, but I want to travel even more. I want to get to know the world, get to know people, cultures. That's what I love that. And I'm focusing on paying down all of my debt. Like I'm gonna focus on paying down my mortgage, any debt that I have, so I can have this house for my children, and it's not a burden for nobody. So I can help them focus on their career, on their life. I want to be able to have that free time if one of my kids become a father or a mom or a dad. I want to be able to help them and provide that help that it was hard for us to get when we were trying to move forward in our life. I want to help them to become whatever they want to become. If they want to go to college, I'll support them, whatever they want to do. But I want to make sure they don't have to be homeless anymore like they used to when they were little. So I want to make sure they have a home, a place to call home. And I want to focus on building something like strong enough so that we can enjoy our lives.
I don't think that's funny at all, Ariam. At all.
Not at all.
You made me realize that in 5 years, my daughter will be 20. And that is so scary to even think of.
No, I raised you. It was hard, but I loved it. And now I'm gonna be 40 or 41 and still gorgeous and go travel and enjoy life, in a good way. And yes, that's what I laugh about. I
think that's amazing. I think we all said we're first generation citizens or Americans, right, in our families. And, to hear our story and to see how we've been able to climb those mountains and how our kids will have such a different story than us. I think there's something special in that that many of us share. That's a similar story. It's important for us to tell our kids. Remind them. My kids were really young. They don't even remember the shelter. But I think it's really important to remind them, where they came from, where we came from.
Yeah, I can tell you that I have four boys, 4 beautiful boys. They range in age from 16 to 28. I have 3 that don't even live here anymore. So I can so relate to your story, about wanting to travel. I told them this all the time. I said, I have 1 left at home. That's it, 1. The other ones are all in college or getting ready to go to college or finish college. I have 1 that finished college already. And I always tell them, when I look back at them, I always say, you know what? I went to college, all of college, my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, and my master's degree. I did it all with 4 kids. So there's absolutely no excuse for you to tell me that you cannot go to school or that you cannot take a class or that you're struggling with something when I had 4 children, a husband, and a house that I had to take, and a full-time job that I had to do while I was trying to go to school. There's absolutely no reason why you can't do it as well.
Yep. I say similar things to my daughter now that she's in high school. But she is well on track, I think seeing me go to school because she was older, of course, so she was able to, both of them obviously saw me going to school and doing my homework and holding myself accountable to that, even though I had all these other things going on. And that has inspired her in her own academics. So she's a freshman and she's actually taking 3 credits through Quincy College. She's in Quincy High School, who has a program. So she's already getting some college credits and well on her way. So I'm so proud of her for already kind of taking that step into her future.
Awesome. So we have
pat myself on the back.
Good job. We should all pat ourselves on the back. Ariam, you as well. So we've taken a while. I'm really appreciative that you guys took the time to really talk to us about kind of what your experience has been with career and coaching. I'll just kind of summarize a little bit of kind of the themes that I heard when we were talking about the strength of moving forward, regardless of the obstacles that you're facing, not allowing anybody's comments or anything to really kind of be in the way of your dreams. That was amazing to hear. Being a part of a family that are going through the exact same thing, understanding they understand where you are in your life and where you're going to go and how you're going to get there and all the obstacles that are going to be in the way because they had similar experiences, not the same because nobody's experience is the same, but very similar experiences. And then having that emotional support from your coach that really kind of guides that ability for you to be able to continue down that path. And really kind of get over those difficult situations, those difficult moments. It's been a pleasure for me to kind of talk to you guys again. I can relate to so much of your story. I'm in my role right now for about 3 months. I haven't been there that long. But we work with homeless families right now, and we help them hopefully find shelters, find homes, and find ways to get out of homelessness. When I think about the struggles that they go through every single day, it makes me even more motivated to really go to work and get up every day because I'm helping somebody else really get out of poverty and shelter to get to a stable home and financial sustainability. So your stories are amazing. It has been a true pleasure to talk to both of you.
Thank you, Ivette. Thank you for this opportunity to One Family too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists and our guests that joined us today, and to Femi as well. and for the sponsors of this series. For more information on One Family's work and how to get involved, please check out their website at www.onefamilyinc.org. Please be on the lookout for One Family's next speaker series later on this year that will focus on housing access. Thank you and have a good afternoon.